Hello. Today we are starting with part 2 of chapter 4 of commercial correspondence, that is the occasional parts in the layout of business letter. In part 1 we had studied about the regular parts of letter. In this session we will learn about the occasional parts. Occasional parts are those parts which may be included or excluded from the letter depending on their need. There are 8 occasional parts: personal and other notation, attention line, subject line, enclosure, carbon copy notation, identification line, mailing instruction, and postscript. Now focus on all the positions of all the parts. On the top center, we are writing the heading, which is a regular part. On the right hand side, we will write the date, which is a regular part. Just below the date, we will be writing the personal and other notation, which is an occasional part. On the left hand side, we will write the inside address, which is regular part. Then after the inside address, in the center, we will write attention line and then the subject line. Both of these are occasional parts. Then on the right hand side, then on the left hand side, we will write the salutation, then the body of letter, on the right hand side, complimentary close and signature. All these are regular parts. Then on the left hand side, we will write all the occasional parts, that is enclosure, CC, identification line, mailing instruction, and postscript. Now first, let us begin with personal and other notation. These are kind of instruction for the reader. They are written usually on the envelope, but because here we are not making an envelope, so in the body of the letter we will write it just below the date. Now in an organization, if you are writing a letter addressed to the CEO, suppose, it will not directly go to the CEO. It will first be handled by a clerk, then it will go to the manager, then the secretary, and then finally it may or may not go to the CEO. So when you are writing these personal notation, it will tell the handler of the letter about the nature of the letter. For example, if you are writing confidential, then all these other people will know that they are not supposed to open the envelope. Similarly, if you are marking the letter as urgent or priority, then all the other officers who are handling the letter will know that immediate action has to be taken for the letter. Next is the attention line. Now for this, take an example of a bank. Now suppose I have discussed some things with my privilege manager, and based on those issues I am writing a letter. Now when writing, I will address to the privilege manager. But there are so many managers in a bank. There won't be just one privilege manager, there will be multiple, 3, 4, 5, 6 in a single branch of a bank. So how will the bank know? How will the branch of the bank know that to which manager it is actually addressed? So for this, we write the attention line where we specify the name of the person who will be handling your account. Next is the subject line. So this basically gives a gist of the letter or the reason for writing the letter. Enclosures are need based as all other parts. If you are writing a reminder and if you want to give copy of the previous letter, then you can include that in the enclosure. Or suppose you are writing a marketing letter and if you want to give a brochure of your project, then you can include that in the enclosure. But make sure to specify it in the letter that you are attaching an enclosure. Next is carbon copy notation. CC means that you are writing the same matter on the same issue to multiple people. Then you have to put CC and you have to mention the name of other people to whom you are addressing that letter. Now this does not mean that if you are writing suppose an advertisement type of a letter or marketing letter, you are sending brochures or price lists etc. to all your clients, then you are not supposed to give CC. Otherwise one buyer will know about which other clients you are trying to get. You will not be able to make your buyer feel special, and your buyer actually does not need to know about your other clients. Now, if there is some communication where you are supposed to inform multiple people, like for example, you have delivered goods and you are writing a letter about the delivery to the store manager, then in the CC, you can write, you can address to the accounts manager also, so that the accounts manager will also be informed that The goods have already been delivered and now you are supposed to clear the payment. Next is the identification line. So try to connect this with the attention line. In attention line, sender is trying to get the attention of the receiver. Here, the sender is trying to get attention on himself. So in a bank where multiple privilege managers were working, if a certain particular manager is writing a letter, he will mention his initials as identification, so that when the receiver of the letter will receive it, he will know who exactly is the person who has written the letter. And then all the further communications can be routed through that particular manager only. Next is mailing instruction. Now, these can be said as a type of instruction for the person handling the letter. For example, in our office, we do not post our letter ourselves. We will give our letters to a dispatch clerk. Now, when I am writing that please send these through speed post or registered post, the person who is handling the letter or the person who is dispatching the letter will know how the letter has to be sent. Postscript. Here you have to mention any important issues. Now, this is not a substitute to the matter which is included in the letter. That means that if you have forgotten something, if you have forgotten to write any matter in the body of letter, then that thing cannot be mentioned in postscript. Postscript is basically done for added importance. For example, if I have written in the body of letter that you have to give the reply within 3 days, then in the postscript I can again mention that to give reply within 3 days, so that an additional importance is given, or will the reader's attention will be drawn to that particular condition. So with this, we have completed our 8 occasional parts and we have already completed our regular parts in the previous session. So with this, we complete our chapter and next we will be seeing chapter 5.